Why your KY aren't thriving. The overlooked triggers behind faded colors and slow growth. You feed them well. You keep the water clean. You watch them every day. But somehow their colors fade. Their growth stalls. Their spark disappears. Is it bad luck? Poor genes? No. It's something else. Something most koi keepers never realize until it's too late. The truth is, subtle, invisible mistakes could be quietly shaping your koi's entire future. And these mistakes? They're built into your routine. It's not just about nutrition. It's about how you feed, when you clean, where the light falls. Tiny choices with massive consequences. This isn't guesswork, it's the koi keeper's blind spot. And once you understand it, everything changes. So let's lift the surface and see what's been holding your koi back all along. Chapter 1. Genetics isn't everything. You thought you did everything right. You picked from the same tank, same bloodline, same breeder. The koi you brought home all shimmered with promise. But now, months later, only one is thriving. One glows with color. One grows like a rocket. The others? They're lagging behind. Their colors are dull. Their size disappointing. You wonder, was it luck? Did I choose wrong? But here's the truth. Genetics can only go so far. Yes, DNA matters. Bloodlines matter. But what happens after that koi leaves the breeder's hand matters more. Why? Because a koi's true potential isn't just inherited. It's activated or suppressed by its environment. Think of two koi from the same parents. One is raised in a carefully balanced system with stable water, curated feed, and ideal light. The other is raised in fluctuating conditions, stress, overfeeding, poor water turnover. Will they grow the same? Never. Because koi are responsive. Their genes express, or shut down, based on what surrounds them. Breeders know this. That's why they micromanage every stage of development. They're not just selling bloodlines, they're selling the results of high-control rearing. So no, you didn't get a bad koi. You just haven't created the same stage for its performance. The genes were never the whole story. You are the difference. And now you have the chance to bring out what's already there, if you're willing to direct it right. Chapter 2. When the water steals their color. You didn't notice it at first. The koi were eating, swimming, gliding just as they always had. But something subtle changed. The deep red on their shoulders turned dusty. The rich blacks, clouded like fog glass. Even the brightest whites began to yellow around the edges. And all the while, the water looked clear. So you didn't suspect a thing. But clarity isn't health. And clean doesn't always mean safe. Because color loss in koi often begins with the silent distortion of water chemistry. A shift in pH, a drop in KH, or the unnoticed presence of chlorine. These invisible forces don't shout. They whisper, breaking pigment pathways, stressing skin tissue, and muting vibrancy one cell at a time. Minerals you've never measured, like copper or zinc, can seep from old pipes or groundwater. They stay low, out of sight, but not out of effect. And while you keep feeding your koi top-tier food, their ability to use that nutrition for color fades, literally, with every unbalanced drop they swim through. This isn't a feeding problem. It's an environment problem. Your koi aren't lacking pigment. They're losing the ability to show it. So the next time your fish seem dull, look past the surface. Because water doesn't have to look dirty to be destructive. Chapter 3. When silence holds them back. They're not sick. They eat. They swim. But something isn't right. They're the same size they were last month. And the month before that. You've changed the food. You've tried supplements. Nothing seems to work. And here's why. The problem isn't physical. It's emotional. Koi don't grow well under pressure. Not loud, crashing pressure. But quiet, lingering tension that never fully leaves the pond. It could be the subtle vibration of a filter motor. The echo of foot traffic on the deck above. A dominant koi that always arrives first at feeding time, pushing the others just enough to make them hesitate. None of it looks dramatic. But your koi aren't thriving because they're spending energy coping, not growing. Stress lowers immune response, alters metabolism, and changes how fish distribute nutrients. A koi may look alert and even eat enthusiastically, but internally, it's stalled. The signs are subtle. One fish always hangs back. Another flicks occasionally with no parasites. One hovers alone under the lilies long after feeding ends. These aren't quirks. They're warnings. Because koi don't shout. They whisper. And when stress becomes their language, growth becomes a silent casualty. You don't need new food. You need a calmer pond. Chapter 4. Hidden in the light. They bask in the water, drifting under the sun. You watch them shimmer and flash, their colors dancing in the ripples. Everything looks perfect. Until one day the sparkle fades. At first, it's barely noticeable, a patch of red that seems thinner, a black edge that turns gray. You check their food, their health, the water. Still, the colors don't return. The culprit? Not darkness, but the wrong kind of light. Light is life for koi. But not all light is equal. Their pigment cells are designed to respond to gradual, natural lighting, soft dawns, gentle dusk, moving clouds. But ponds are static. The sun hits the same spots at the same angle. Some areas burn under direct rays while others remain in perpetual shade. Even worse, artificial lighting, LED spot lamps, adds intensity koi never evolved to handle. Over time, their pigment cells retreat. Red fades, black blurs, white stains. Some koi hide, not because they're afraid, but because they're overwhelmed. Others stop growing, not for lack of food, but because they're not receiving the right visual signals. Just as plants lean toward light, koi develop under it. The wrong light doesn't just mute their beauty, it misguides their biology. So if your pond is full of shade lines and glare patches, consider this. Your koi might not be struggling in the dark. They might be struggling in the wrong kind of brightness. Chapter 5. When too much love slows them down. You just want them to thrive. That's why you feed them that extra handful. Why you drop in pellets when they seem eager. Why you feed again before bed, just in case. You're not careless. You're kind. But sometimes, kindness misfires. Koi don't understand portion control. They'll rise every time. They'll look hungry even when full. And because you love seeing them happy, you give more. But beneath that cheerful surface, something's going wrong. Excess food doesn't become growth. It becomes burden. Their systems strain to digest what they don't need. Their water fills with ammonia and nitrites. The filter groans. The oxygen drops. And without saying a word, your koi begin to slow. You won't see it right away, but they'll grow heavy in the middle. Their swim loses grace. Their colors soften. They're not sick, just tired. Not from swimming, from overfeeding. Ironically, while you were trying to boost their progress, you were stalling it. Not intentionally, but by giving too much, too often, without letting their biology catch up. The strongest koi aren't the roundest. They're the most efficient, burning food cleanly, growing with balance, moving with purpose. So next time you stand with the feed in hand, remember, you're not filling their bellies. You're shaping their future. And sometimes the best thing you can give them is less. Chapter 6. The rhythm they've been waiting for. You've changed so much. You've tested the water, adjusted the light, rethought every feeding. You've questioned, observed, learned. But koi don't bloom from effort alone. They bloom from rhythm. A koi doesn't just grow in good water. It grows in familiar water. Water that holds steady through the week. That welcomes the morning sun the same way, every day. That feels safe. Because growth is not born from sudden change. It's born from the quiet repetition of what works. When food comes on time, koi digest better. When the light arrives gently, pigment cells activate. When the pond's hum never changes, stress fades into comfort. It's not about fixing everything at once. It's about letting koi trust their world. They learn your footsteps. They remember where the shade lands. They wait at the feeding spot, not because they're hungry, but because they know. This is what separates a beautiful pond from a truly living one. Consistency. Not perfection. Not innovation. But the kind of steady care that makes koi feel at home in their skin, in their colors, in their growth. So the next time you hesitate, wondering if you've done enough, ask this. Have I given them peace? Have I made their world predictable? Because koi don't just reflect your care. They reflect your rhythm. And once that rhythm is right, everything else follows. What grows beneath the stillness? You've walked through the layers. Not just the visible problems, cloudy water, dull scales, halted growth, but the invisible patterns beneath them. In the silence between feedings. In the shifting light on a koi's back. In the tension of too much care, or not enough consistency. And now, perhaps for the first time, you see your pond differently. It is no longer a project. It's a relationship. Every ripple speaks. Every color tells a story. Every still moment is a conversation waiting to be heard. Because koi are not merely pets. They are reflections of balance, of patience, of presence. And when they stop thriving, it isn't always because something is missing. Sometimes it's because too much is moving. So let this be your final note. In koi keeping, Mastery is not about control. It's about rhythm, stillness, trust. Let the pond be a world they can rely on. Let your habits become a gentle current, not a storm. And one day, quietly, without warning, they will surprise you. With color, with growth, with grace. Not because you pushed them forward, but because you finally stepped back.